This is Toaden's Media Litter Sandwich. Hey, I'm Toaden, whatever. Yeah, it's been a minute since I done one of these. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to try to just focus on movies and TV shows because when I was doing this all the time, people want to talk about everything. And whenever I have a guest come on and their first question is, who did you vote for? It's time to change subjects because that was kind of weird. So now that I'm unemployed, I'm bringing this back, or we're going to see where this goes. I'm just hanging out with a couple buddies of mine. I got Smallsy.
Yo.
And I got my buddy Rich.
Yo.
And today we're talking about a movie Sergeant York, which, I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do this, and I'm not going to do the reviews and read, the IMDb recap or nothing like that. We're just going to have that conversation of and we'll figure out what the movie was as we go along. You probably figure out pretty quick. But so this movie Sergeant York, if you found this by searching, you probably heard the Fat Electrician's viral document. And Fat Electrician, I think he's awesome, but we might hear a couple different things because I know his doc on this was like an hour long, talking about Alvin York. Yeah, it was about like an hour long.
He's definitely long-winded.
I enjoy his commentary, but then again, I watch him and listen to him all the time, even on the Unsub podcast and some of his other ventures. One of these days, I'll sub to a Pepperbox. So if he's listening to this, hey, can you toss me a Pepperbox subscription, which is their podcast network subscription thing. So he did this thing about Alvin York, which is a real person, World War I, that captured 130 odd German soldiers during an attack.
Played by Gary Cooper.
Yeah. He talked about him, and then he mentioned that there was a movie, so we watched the movie. So we're going to talk about this Gary Cooper movie. Who wants to try to do somewhat of a recap, or do we just want to jump in and tell our thoughts? Because the movie itself is, you want to do a 5-second recap? 20 seconds?
I guess, yeah. I mean, the conversation we were having beforehand was what would you even count it as, constitute it as? Is it a war movie or is it a drama? What exactly is it? You know what I mean? Because I don't think that it is a war movie, bro.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. Drama. Yeah, it's one of those movies where it's a war movie for the guys, and it's then it's a family movie for the women, or a little bit of romance, a little bit of slice of life. Yeah.
So spoilers all day, right?
Oh yeah, spoilers all day. You only had 70 years to watch the movie. I mean, no. That spoiler has not been lifted yet.
I don't classify it as necessarily it definitely has war, and that's the part of the movie I enjoyed. But I definitely think of it's more of a movie that when you watch it, it brings pride of you being an American, because that's what I got from the movie.
Right.
It basically, you got just this random drunk hillbilly from the mountains who's basically apparently the best marksman I've ever seen. Just kind of a waste of a talent, just killing turkeys. Which another thing from that the
Fat Electrician.
Fat Electrician. He was saying how this guy used to turkey hunt, and he would only do headshots to basically so he didn't damage any of the meat. He's just the man when it comes to this thing, and he basically sobers up, gets his life together, has to go to war, and now has all these internal struggles about killing,
right?
But thus winning a bunch of awards, this.
It's a classic American, redemption story, right? I mean, I guess you said, I didn't know this, by the way. I guess there's a documentary, right? His father dies, so becomes the head of the household, right? Too much stress on him, put too much pressure on him, so, he gets turned to the bottle in Appalachia, right? He gets cleaned up, finds God, then he gets drafted, right? And the whole movie is based on him trying to redeem himself, and he just becomes a hero at the end. I mean, yeah,
they spent a lot of time on that. He was trying to be a conscientious objector,
right?
Which they kind of pointed in the movie that it actually kind of went through, and all he had to do was sign the dotted line. I don't know if it needed more time or less time, and that's kind of weird of what they spent time on. And I'm glad I watched the documentary, or at least the Fat Electrician video, because if I just watched the movie, I'm like, this ain't based on real life. There's way too much here. That's kind of hard to believe. That's hard. And one of the funny things is apparently the family, of all the things that they probably changed and over dramatic size and stuff, the biggest thing that I heard they had an issue with was that they showed Alvin and his later wife kissing before they were married. That they're very strict, saying that never happened. They never even held hands till they were married. They never kissed till they were married.
That's how you know what time this movie was built in. That's the one that they want to push back on. Like,
oh,
absolutely not.
Oh yeah, only yeah.
Well, probably because she was like 13 years younger than him. Time he was trying to kiss a girl, she was still trying to.
That's
learn
right.
to read.
You looked that up on. You looked that up. She was very young, which I don't know for
She
that.
was probably in like the 4th grade. He's off.
It's a different time, bud.
Well, it's funny because my wife, her family are from not Tennessee, but the Barbersville Mountains. The holler there, and they were cousins. So it's a different time, different world.
Yeah,
which kind of like shows you, like, when you start watching the first like hour and 20 into this, like what a different world it really was.
Oh man, yeah.
Like, yeah, this was like before World War I, but they're trading sacks of goose feathers, I
mean, how much did he say? Okay, so there's a part of the movie, right? I mean, where he's trying to buy this land, I guess it's prime real estate in the area, right? And it's going for $120, right? Now, I don't know how much acres that is, but like $120 for land is kind of crazy. It was a different time back then. And they were built differently too, man, the people back then,
Yeah, like I watched him when he was like in the army. They're like digging trenches and all this. I'm like, you're doing manual labor and you're fighting war?
At the same time.
It's wild.
But yeah, like that's a good point. How different time it was, they're it's like a barter system, right? Where like you're trading. There's a part where he's trying to buy land from this guy, right? I forget his name, and he's trading a mule, some knickknacks, a clock, goose feathers, and he offered him $50 for it, and he's I guess, and that is a steal in his eyes, like $50 for all that,
Yeah.
I mean, just money was so different back then,
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, when you look, you could look at that modern thing too, even now, like looking at the movie, like this movie would not be made the way it is today. Mm-hmm. Like, we were talking like, one, it's over 2 hours long. You don't do 2 hour long movies anymore.
Well, the other thing too is I feel like it's still a war movie, but I feel like they try to use as much as like they could have, just like what they could in set, because they didn't have the CGI and the effects they have now. So they're just really trying to drag this story out. So I feel like 2/3 of this movie was just taking place of like him, like early life him, where all the more interesting stuff kind of happens the last 40 minutes of this movie when he actually joins the military and goes to war.
Yeah, it's a lot in a little bit of time, yeah.
It's definitely more limited, but I feel like war is a little bit harder back in the 1900s, 1941, I think, when we to actually like capture on film.
Yeah, I mean, the whole war part
it's literally just newspaper clippings like, the war, they're coming home.
Yeah, the war part was like, what, 20, 30 minutes of the whole movie? I mean, I know they showed some training, but a lot of training.
I mean, he doesn't even get deployed, like I said, in the until like the hour and 13-minute mark, right? So like half of the movie was spent in Appalachia, like his backstory, what's going on up there, So that's why I was saying I don't even think it constitutes as a war movie. It's more like a drama set in Appalachia.
If this was done today, I feel like they would kind of make it like a Forrest Gump type thing, because it's not trying to make fun of that he was uneducated or saying that he had any learning disabilities, but he had a 3rd grade education.
I'm sure, but what makes it funny is when he came home from war and they settled, I think in like Nashville, like he actually was an advocate for like better education in like Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was he?
Oh yeah, he. In fact, that's why there's even a movie, because I guess for a while he wasn't selling the movie rights. He wasn't trying to do any of that, and then he's like, well, I could make money off of this, and then he used all that money for schools. Like he barely, if you watch the documentary with Fat Electrician, he spent a lot of time on it. Actually, he talked about how he published his war journals, a story that I guess went to a book as well, and then of course the movie. All that money went to building the school and furnished it, did everything that they did, and it took him like 20, 30 years to do all that.
Yeah.
And I guess he was only writing a check like enough for himself, enough for him and his family to survive. Like they were not making bank off of it. All that money went to build the schools and everything. And he didn't know that he was supposed to save money for taxes, because this wasn't like a 501c3 or anything like that. He was just doing it on his own.
Yeah.
He didn't make he didn't know about any of that. And he didn't think he needed to do any of that. And so he actually owed hundreds of thousands of dollars in back taxes. And it took an act of Congress to forgive it. Because he was like, hey, I built the school. It's furnished. It's good to go. Can you guys just kind of take it over and run it now?
So he had way more influence in that area that he was in.
And that school is still there, by the way. That school is still there and being used.
What's the name of it?
York Institute. I believe it's a high school.
It's actually super interesting. Yeah, high school.
Yeah. I
Jamestown, Tennessee. Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't realize how influential he was in that area. Me as so stepping into this movie, like not knowing the backstory of it, I didn't realize that it was based on a true story until I started watching. I was like, oh, okay. And then I started looking into it, After realizing that, though, it kind of made a lot more sense,
Yeah. I hear Fi on the background. I know you're adorable, and I wish you were still walking up to Smallsy, because I was about to take a picture, and that was been such an adorable picture of you staring at Smallsy while he was talking.
At least he enjoys what you're saying.
Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know. Do you hate Smallsy, or would you rather me be quiet and let him take over? I got no problem with that. I just sit back and watch the mixer.
The whole thing is, this whole first over an hour long of the movie, I feel like there were just very few plot points in this whole thing. I get it, he wanted to buy the land, and I feel like you really need to see how good of a marksman he really was to even make this like movie even believable.
They touched on it just a little bit with the shooting competition.
Well, right? And at the very beginning, where he shot his initials in that tree, where it was interrupting the sermon, which apparently was a real thing too, where he would interrupt the sermons by just shooting his guns off and stuff like that. Like
crazy foreshadowing in the movie, right?
Yeah,
like in the beginning.
But that was true though. He according to the documentary, like that's what he did that when he was still drinking, because between the point where he stopped drinking and he was drafted is about 3 years or something like that. It was several years later, but they wanted to show that, even though the movie doesn't really give a time frame of how long it's been since he stopped drinking and became, an honest churchgoer of a man that takes care of his 2 younger siblings. In the real life, he had 8 younger siblings.
Well, movies back then, I feel like, what was this, in the 40s this came out, right? 41. Like, they focus, like you were saying earlier, there's no CGI and like that. They focus more on the dialogue, right?
Yeah. And
you really get to hear or experience that Appalachia, like, drawl and, like,
I thought that was interesting. I don't know how far deep they went into that, but they took a stab at it. It wasn't like Gambit talking Creo in the Deadpool movies, which he could have went way deeper in that too. I would love that.
I did like their attempt at CGI when there's a part where he's on a horse. It's raining right after he came from the bar, and the lightning bolt hits him. I was like, that's crazy. In 41, they were doing a CGI lightning. That's pretty cool.
That wasn't CG.
It was it?
No, the first CG use in the movie was in Westworld, the movie, not the TV show. And when that came out, which was in the 70s.
Oh, this was okay.
But still, I'm sure that lightning bolt was probably half their budget right there. Yeah, we get one shot at this, guys.
I forgot how they used to do that. I want to say it was a light trick with a reflection. I'm not quite sure how they used to do that.
Let me see.
Well, you said
for all I know, it could just been a projection screen behind them.
There's a point in the movie where we were looking at it and we're just like, man, that looks beautiful. You said, no, that's a painting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what they used to do. All the backdrops were paintings. Yeah.
Well, this like, shout out to the guys that really make like the mountains look like the mountains. There's a point where I think he was on the horse and you kind of like see him on that like little cliff edge, and I'm like, dang, that'd be sweet. Like it reminded me of like actually when I had to drive through the mountains to come up here from like what was it, North Carolina? Like it was just the way the winding roads, everything's so high, like looking down and rocky. So shout out to the set coordinator or whatever the term was back here in the 40s.
Shout out to the composer too for the movie as well.
It was good.
I feel like the music really puts you you know, in a good setting. You know what I mean? Like it fits the movie well. I mean, obviously, like it's the 40s, so everything kind of it's kind of similar when it comes to composition and things like that, right? I mean, nothing's like popping out, but I mean, it really immerses you in the movie itself. If you want to say his name is Freed something, I don't know. I want to look it up.
So, I mean, we didn't really talk about the action, so let's talk about that a little bit. You know, it shows how, or kind of how he captured 130 odd German soldiers. One thing that I noticed was they kind of changed it in the documentary. They say that when he was grabbing the German officer, the German officer was like, English, and he goes, no, American. Which in the movie, he did do that little side, but he did that in training to someone else when he talked about Englishmen, or do you speak English? It's like, no, there ain't no Englishmen there. They did that in training. And you know, the officer they kind of did that scene, but it was to that pusher guy or to someone else. And they didn't have the same exchange. I thought that was a little odd. Because to me, that's kind of a funny thing. Because even in the apparently, I didn't read. I don't know, in New York's private journals, because he kept a war journal, which they went into the documentary. He talked about how the officer spoke better English than he did because he went to school in America. He went to college in America. So the German officers probably spoke better English than anyone else there.
Yeah, just based on his training, right? Okay.
Just to go back to what we were saying about the action, I feel like that turkey scene was the beginning of like showing what a marksman, because that's like what he was, and that's what made this like so unbelievable. Yeah. But you know, they actually like show him being drafted in training when he first gets his rifle. Like it's only basically him and this other person when it's literally supposed to be a platoon of I'm sure like 8. It's at least 8 because there's 8 people that are supposed to be holding 130 people.
They mention it,
and they don't show anybody else shooting a rifle. I feel like you could have really like expanded on that by having like other people, just maybe other people that were in his like platoon actually shooting how difficult it was. Because they just basically show one guy basically not knowing how to shoot, basically hitting himself in the eye, and then you got him who's bullseye, which kind of like I wish they would have kind of like took maybe 10 minutes off the whole front end of this movie of the mountains and you know everything else, and just put it more in here. I think
they could have cut a lot of that because in the documentary they talked about like, that's how he shot the turkeys with their head, but that wasn't the shooting competition. The shooting competition was doing that. Shooting competition was normal bullseye stuff, and with different areas of the thing. The fact that there was just all turkey heads all the time, you know, different sections that was weird. They should, you know, they wanted to do the shooting competition like that, which apparently in real life he did shooting competitions all the time. Oh, really? You know, this was just kind of a hype up thing for the movie. Well, at least that's what I believe. But they could have just showed him like when he was drunk shooting the head of a rooster going off, because they said that's what he's done that. Like he'd be walking down the street drunk and the rooster goes off and he's pissed off, so he shoots the rooster in the head.
I like the idea that that's what they do for fun, though. Like, you know, they have shooting competitions.
Don't do that to my rooster. No. Please. I don't have a rooster, but if I did, I'd be very upset.
No. Well, again, it just goes to show like just about what a different time they live in. Like there was no like, you know what, I'm gonna look up like when vanilla wafers were on the internet today. Like there is literally nothing to do, so you're off just like, let me shoot the head off this chicken randomly. That'll kill 12 minutes,
you know.
Yeah,
I mean, they're getting up early,
and that's including like skinning it too and defeathering it, like just eating up time.
You already plowed, you know, the land, already tilled the land all before noon. You know, you get all this done all before noon. So now what are you gonna do?
That's something else they changed. Was he was supposed to be a blacksmith?
Oh, and they never touched on that at all, did they?
No, they never showed the cave because his blacksmith shop was the cave that was like his great grandfather, great grandfather. When he first settled the land, he lived in the cave, and the cave became the blacksmith shop. And then he built the log house, which for generations where they all lived in.
But if you, with that being said, if you'd have showed him being the blacksmith, I'm pretty sure it would have made that whole, like, the only important big scene in the whole first hour of the movie was that, and he literally takes $5 for 5 shots and bets on himself, which who doesn't enjoy a story where somebody is betting on themselves and coming through with it?
Yeah.
Like, he bought 5 shots and he only got 5 shots to win this whole freaking cow.
He's the Jordan of sports shooting.
Basically. But, like, if he was a blacksmith, you would think he would have enough, like, bullets just to, like, hey, I got scrap here around, because it shows him literally melting bullets and, like, pressing them right there.
Yeah. I forgot that thing. That's why I said when I was watching, I was like, are they making their own bullets? Like, it's a different time, man.
He was even selling them for when he was trying to buy that land. He had a bunch of
Why wouldn't he just do that instead? Why wouldn't he just sell bullets, sell ammunition? You know, like, I mean, I understand that you want to get you want to work for your keep, but just sell it in Nashville. Go to Nashville, sell your bullets, I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, this is not the documentary. This is the movie, right? So who knows how accurate it actually is, but just things like that where it's just I wish they would have touched on the blacksmith part about it more, because I didn't even know that until you brought it up. I thought it would be super interesting to put in there,
So one question I kind of want to ask, I know you didn't watch the documentary, but I know Rich and I talked about it. What if you were to like, oh, hey, let me tell you about the Sergeant York, guy, Medal of Honor recipient and all these things, which Medal of Honor recipients, that's not an award you want to ever go for. Most people get it after they die. That's not something that should be a goal, to be in a situation to have one. And the fact that you got one without being harmed. And I mean, this guy's by all accounts should have been freaking Swiss cheese during this. I mean, even his canteen was Swiss cheese, which they didn't go into that movie where they check out where his where he laid in prone, and everything around where he laid was decimated. He dropped his canteen, and that was decimated. That was Swiss cheese, and so the fact that he made it out completely unharmed was just incredible. Yeah. But so anyways, what would you recommend to somebody? Would you recommend the documentary by Fat Electrician, or would you hey, or do you check out this old movie, or would you be like, just read the Wikipedia?
I mean, I feel like people enjoy movies more. And here's the thing, how you said, like, most people who receive the Medal of Honor die of. Just me off the top of my head could think about it. There's only 2 people I could think of, and I only knew one before this that received it before. And so York here got one for World War One, and then Audie Murphy in World War II.
Which Audie Murphy was inspired by York.
I'm sure, but Audie Murphy took out a tank. Yeah. I mean, so that's why I feel like I would definitely want to recommend a movie, because you definitely want to at least understand the severity. Like, this guy took out a whole 132 people. There's that part in the movie where the guy has the Gatling gun. He's just popping them off one at a time, another one. You got guys like Audie Murphy, yeah, I took out a tank, my bare hands. So I definitely would say the movie, because I definitely want to share that, because it does give the sense of how great it is to be an American, right? After those points, yeah, we are American. We're still able to kick ass, and we're able to do, great things. 1776, yeah, we beat, Britain for our independence, and we've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, you don't come across too many feel good war movies anymore. That's just not something we do. Feel good war movies.
Yeah, I definitely go movie first and then documentary, and it'll kind of fill in the gaps of what the movie missed out, like the blacksmith, being a blacksmith, like him, starting a high school, things like that, that, obviously they won't touch on in the movie because it just slows it down, right? But, just to learn a little bit more about this guy that actually did exist. This is basically a true story. You get the context of exactly who he is and, what he's about.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too is, like I said, you come home and you hear these stories. Like they touched about it in the movie too, where it shows he comes back with like the whole crew, and it went from like, hey, he killed or he captured 132 people. Oh, he captured a Zephyr. Oh, he killed the Tsar. Like he just like it's like that teleport. The legend,
telephone game. Yeah.
The legend becomes bigger than what actually happened, what he actually was, which only adds to his greatness, you know?
Yeah, that's funny. They had the line of guys walking. He's like, yeah, I think he captured the crown prince within 3 people, within 10 minutes of the story being spoken, you know?
Hey, Corporal York, I heard you captured the whole army over there. Like, no, just 132 guys, you know?
That was really cool because the actor for him really did kind of capture his humbleness. Is like, almost simpleton, but not.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever watched anything with Gary Cooper before. I hear Gary Cooper, I just think of Putting on the Ritz song.
Mm-hmm. He was in High Noon, The Pride of the Yankees. Couple things, man. I don't know if any of these, they sound familiar to you, but he actually has a really long catalog, man. He's been in a lot of stuff. So I'd imagine for that time, this was probably the best choice to play Alvin, right? I mean, you got a guy with this pedigree. He's been in.
I don't know. I was like, you just want to go find someone that's like over 6 feet tall. I mean, I guess the red hair part doesn't really matter because it's black and white.
Yeah.
Which I was thinking that. Because like the failed electrician's pocket definitely did make sure he was just like a 215 pound, 6 foot something ginger guy. Which I think kind of almost adds to
which Gary Cooper is not.
Is he like a giant? Is he
is he Paul Bunyan?
Exactly.
Paul Bunyan had to have been heavier than 215 though.
But the way they make him sound, it makes make that sound like that over 6 foot embellishment. It makes it sound like he is more larger than life. Which then you add on hey, he killed the crown prince. It definitely just adds to that legend,
Yeah. So one thing,
I just want to throw this out. Gary Cooper seems like he seems like the Brad Pitt of the 40s, bro. He's literally in everything. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you good, man. I don't know nothing about Gary. Again, the only thing I know about him is they mentioned him in the song "Putting on the Ritz." Was it Dress Up Like Gary Cooper?
They even have songs about him.
yeah, Putting on the Ritz.
Oh man,
you know that song, right?
I have no idea. No, he seems like he was a star back in his day, man. But definitely captured Alvin's humbleness in the movie. I think, that was a great casting choice, man. Great casting choice. But you did bring up a good point. I'm sorry. Not focusing on the platoon itself, like his crew. They call him Pusher, right? That the one guy, and as you're watching it, you're like, oh man, obviously this guy's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, this is the was it American All American squadron or battalion. They're still around. They're an airborne now, but
okay,
they're a big deal. It's a big deal to be All American airborne.
Yeah, I would have loved to see them touch on that a little bit more.
Well, and I just like I said, I do feel that whether it's a war movie or not, what do you want to classify as? I feel like anytime you are in with war, you definitely need to introduce the people going into war, give them more of a personality. You've seen it in Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan. You start at least humanizing little details with guys, so you're connected. So if something does happen, you're actually you actually care when it does happen. When the movie here, the only person they ever touched about was the comic relief was Pusher, which kind of you're dang, that's horrible.
We're speaking just about the movie, not real life events, just the movie in general. But when he did eventually die, you were just like, okay, I saw that coming.
Yeah.
He's the only other guy he's talking to.
It definitely didn't hit the way you would think in a war movie where this is one of his friends and comrades, and he says in the movie I think towards the end where they were well, I was just trying to he protect his he was put here from God to protect everyone. And stuff, or maybe that was in the failed electrician.
That was in the documentary more.
And then but then you see that
in the documentary. They say that he goes on a journal, pretty much says "Hey, if I'm gonna do this, I'm here because God put me here, and God's gonna protect me. And if I die, well, that's God's will too. So So he's gonna put himself in harm's way. He's gonna go through it because if he dies, that's part of God's plan. But if he doesn't, then God's protecting him.
That's what he said.
Well, that was part of the whole thing too, where he was a conscientious objector and he was like morally opposed to killing. But then all of a sudden he had like some battle of scripture with one of the officers there, and he was like, well, maybe you're here to help protect everybody. And that's what I mean. Like when if you would expand it out more of his crew and maybe like a little bit more push it, you would have cared that he actually just got blown up by a grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, no matter what happened, you could have blown up a grenade. That's definitely sad. He's definitely not coming home. And that's definitely like the most horrible way you could possibly go in war. Like a grenade.
Yeah.
By the way, I would love to see the scripture rap battle in the movie. They did not do that. They did not. They barely did it. Like in real life, it was like an hour of them just tossing scripture back at each other. Not, well, after this is that, yeah, and after that, and then here's a history book, which is in the movie, which is kind of cool because they're kind of pushing their own agenda. But I want to see the scripture rap battle. I don't, I would like to see how that went on. And if they did remake this movie today, I don't think they would include that either.
No, exactly.
Because our old modern senses, they try to play down religion, they try to play down anything that glorifies war, which I do understand, but at the same time, I also understand we also want to celebrate our wins too.
Yeah.
Don't want to glorify war, but we want to celebrate our wins. And this is a religious person, and they did have a religious quote unquote rap battle of scripture,
right.
Which I know you didn't see the documentary. So what do you think about a rap battle of religious scriptures trying to decide whether or not,
I mean, I'm a person where I like debate. I like watching debate, even if it's something that I'm not, that versed in, me personally. But, if I like the idea of watching someone, debate their point and have good points to back up what they believe and what they think, So again, they wouldn't put it in the movie, if they were made it today. But I think it's super interesting.
I think it's super. It's the pod or the documentary about him. They said this battle of scripture went on for over an hour. Like, I mean, how like well versed you have to be in the Bible to like rap about this different scripture passages for an hour.
Yeah,
like I know like 3.
I also wanted to bring up the movie Fury, which have you seen the movie Fury?
I have not.
Rich, have you?
Never.
Okay. So, I mean, one thing you brought up was that they didn't spend a lot of time on any of the other characters, like maybe at least showing a little bit of them more in training and learning about them. And how we spent over an hour on this guy before he even got to training. I think it was about an hour before he got to training. I know it was over an hour before he went to war. But like the movie Fury, you literally start, also based on a true story, although the tank wasn't called Fury, it was called In the Mood, which is a way better name for a tank, by the way.
I think so.
Way better than it, but they didn't want to make that in a movie with Brad Pitt, like him in the tank called In the Mood. That might be glorifying war a little bit. Yeah, by the time they go with that, they've already been through. I forgot where they already went through. I think they already went through like Africa. Yeah, they were already in Africa, and then they were in the Pacific or something. Anyways, but they pick up like long into their campaign. And they don't really talk about anything about their past. No flashbacks, none of that. Just, okay, now you're in war. Now we're watching these guys. Whatever you learn, it's going to be based off of very little of them talking and what they do. And I don't remember any of their names from the movie. I know more from the Electrician did a great thing about that one too, actually.
Yeah. About
the tank commander of In the Mood, which is a fantastic watch. I highly recommend, the way I would recommend this is, I know, and you guys can tell me, I recommend watching the documentary of the Fat Electrician thing for Sergeant York, for Alvin York, and then watching the movie, because that way you kind of go into it with some knowledge, but I also understand like how you're like, well, after you watching the movie first, so like, what would you recommend? Or would you recommend just watching the wiki? I know I kind of already asked that. And
yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Well, because like me going in not knowing anything about Alvin York and I'm not really that versed in World War One history, anyways, right?
We're blasted with World War II, but World War One is. I know about that Christmas, which was very early in the war, and that's about it because they talk about that all the time.
That is a good point. You don't really see a lot of media around World War One. It's always two or more modern, like Desert Storm, things like that, in Middle East stuff like that. You never really see movies that are touching on World War One, which I kind of appreciated from this one. Obviously, it was made in the 40s, but
can
you name another one that was set in World War One?
All Quiet on the Western Front, was that one or two? No. I don't even know. Okay, I'm going to Google that. Rich, you want to give us your thoughts? I'm going to Google this.
Oh, I just feel like this movie here was a 1940 version of basically Rambo.
Yeah, he did pop off.
Like, he's just popping off, doing the impossible. And, like, part of the thing is, like, they weren't even sure if they were to give him the Medal of Honor because they didn't, like, really want to believe him. But, like, how else do you, like, not believe a guy who's, like, showing up, like, I got 132 Germans here. What do you guys want me to do with them?
Yeah, Rambo was based on what's his name? Not Alvin. Not the guy you mentioned.
Audie Murphy.
Audie Murphy. There was another guy after Audie Murphy, Bendis or something. That actually accidentally went to a fight only with his knife. Which Fat Electrician did a thing on him too. Which Rambo's kind of based on him and Audie Murphy, which both of those guys were inspired by York. One, like the, I think that was his name. You looking him up?
No, I'm looking up World War One movies.
There's a bunch
All
of them.
Quiet on the Western Front was a World War One movie.
And there's the original in 1930, right? But then they did a remake in 2022.
Yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front. That was the war movie for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It has to be if they have a remake of it,
Yeah, I didn't see the remake. I want to say I saw the original, and I know I saw like the first remake, not the one from like a couple years ago. But I know I don't think I saw the original. I think I saw a remake when I was in high school. I don't know how many versions there is. I don't think I watched a movie from the 1930s in high school. Maybe I did. I don't know.
It has to be.
I mean, there's tons of like World War One movies that were made, but
none of them.
Majority of them.
Nothing like pops out, right? Like,
nothing that like I've seen is like majority of them like that are recent or stuff like 2005, 1999, 1999, 2004, which to me just tells me that like most movies about war aren't making money or they're not trying to again glorify war. But
yeah,
I definitely feel like there should be movies that like showcase the greatness of America.
Roy Benavides. Roy Benavides was the guy, another Medal of Honor recipient, I believe. He was inspired by the one you're talking
Rambo?
about. Rambo was inspired by Roy Benavides and
Audie
Murphy.
Got it.
I just love the Fat Electrician kind of makes them like the trilogy. Makes these York and Benavides and Audie Murphy the trilogy of who Rambo was based off of, or at least this guy inspired this guy, which inspired this guy. Which it's nice that they actually know who these guys are, because I know when I joined the Marine Corps, I don't think I could name any Medal of Honor recipient. I mean, now I can name off a couple because I watch Fat Electrician, and I also kind of funny because one of my favorite zombie movies is Range 15, which actually has two Medal of Honor recipients in the movie, killing off zombies, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like growing up, like I didn't know who any of them were.
Well, and that's why I feel like I would definitely want to like steer people. If you say which one the wiki page, I definitely want to steer them towards the movie. You definitely want like to, like get people involved and to like know about these things. Because like here it is, a person like we're talking about Rambo now that basically, I mean, everyone knows who John Rambo is. Everyone has seen at least one of the Rambo movies. And here are the guys that kind of like set the floor for these like impossible, great, good people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we could have a whole other conversation about Rambo. And
I
love. Oh my god, I love Rambo.
Well,
the first movie people forget how many people, like, because you watch, all these other parts. You watch First Blood Part 2, and then Part 3 in Afghanistan. Then 4 was somewhere where he's on a boat, and then you have the one in Arizona, which was Last Blood, which was incredibly bloody, fighting like cartels and sex trafficking and stuff like that. Which honestly, spoiler alert, he doesn't die at the end. I really, really felt like he should. I just don't know how you can end Rambo movies with him still being alive, especially after what happened in Last Blood. Like, I don't know how he could carry on his life after that. But especially the first one. The first one was, this is PTSD.
Right.
And it's based off of a book. This is PTSD. And I could talk, oh my God, that monologue scene. The fact that Stallone was able to pull that off with his messed up, this is Stallone made Rocky at that point, but no one other than Rocky, no one knew who he was.
He was kind of like, up and coming star at that point.
Yeah. Well, the reason Rocky was so cheap was because that was the only way he would sell it, because he wrote Rocky,
right? And
he said, I'll only sell the movie rights if I get to play Rocky. So that's why I didn't have a big budget. That's why I didn't, because he was nobody. He's this writer, actor that hasn't done anything. Then after Rocky blew up, and then they put him in a Rambo, which...
Wasn't he doing porn too? Like, just to pay the bills?
Yeah, was it Miss Kitty something? Yeah, I wouldn't bring... Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm waiting for someone to bring that up in an interview. I heard he won't talk about it.
Well,
they did change the name to like the Italian Stallion or something, and all the music in it to be more Rocky themed.
Rocky blew up, so let's give this next movie, a bigger.
Yeah,
budget.
They went back and re-edited it. Yeah, I told you they did.
Dolby
they
Digital.
Did. They changed the title. They changed the music. Yeah, they re-edited it afterwards. Like, oh man, this guy.
We're gonna make $1 billion off this. It was just sitting on somebody's shelf, so Rocky blows up. Like, wait, guy looks familiar.
I wonder if you would autograph a copy of that VHS or Betamax tape or whatever.
I think you might catch a right hook.
There's only 3 VHS of that left in existence at this point.
I'm sure he's been buying them off eBay for the last 50 years.
I wonder which one will go for more. By the way, I'm cutting this out. I wonder what would go for more, though. The original Night at Miss Kitty's, whatever the hell the title was.
Sealed copyright.
Or, the original version, sealed, never opened up. Or a used up version of the remastered, where they changed the name to the Italian Stallion and changed the music to be more Rocky-esque and everything.
Oh, the original has to be. It has to.
Yeah. I think the better thing is, who owns the rights to that?
I'm sure
I own the rights to that. I'm just going to go ahead and keep pumping these out on, I'm going to sell it to Vivid for, X amount of dollars, and we're going to see this. Everyone's going to see it Stallone.
Probably he bought the rights after he made Rocky 2.
You have to.
And he could, yeah.
I think you would have to and want to. That's why it's not running around everywhere.
Yeah, I got Rocky money now. I'll take that from you.
I'm getting my dog back, and I'm getting my the sex movie back. He had to sell his dog. You know that?
No, I did not.
He sold his dog. He had to buy it back after he struck it rich from Rocky.
Oh, that's an American comeback story. That's a redemption story right there.
That's what this podcast is all about. The great comeback.
Now, wait a second. Rambo was based off the Nicaraguan revolution, right? Now that's centered around true events, is it not?
It was. I thought it was more based on Roy Benedict, but I can't say his name.
I think he's talking about more the setting to it, not the character itself,
right?
Like the conflict.
I want to say this because he was a Contra, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was all in country. The first one, I know. The second one, he goes back to Vietnam for the POWs.
Ooh, okay.
Which the second one was very good too.
Yeah,
I mean, it's more Hollywood. The second one's a lot more Hollywood. And I think the second one's probably, I don't know which one's the best, 1 or 2. The first one's definitely a drama. It's action, but it's a drama. Oh, but did you guys know how many people died? How many people they killed off in the first movie? Right?
No.
1.
Really?
only one person dies in the first in Rambo First Blood. And then after that are actual war movies where he's doing something like he goes, because keep in mind part 2 he goes back to Vietnam, but this is long after the Vietnam War. It's just, basically they said they still have POWs that's been there X amount of years, still there after the Vietnam War. I think it's still based in the 80s. Vietnam War ended, in the early 70s, mid 70s, 74 or something like that. I'm probably wrong. I'm just trying to figure it out without a computer in front of me. And then, so yeah, they still have POWs. So they sent them over to just observe. And then he took it upon himself to free them because they were about to move camps again. And you could talk about how it remarks on the military industrial complex, about how they can make more money of observing and like knowing certain things exist versus actually doing anything about them. Actually bringing home your people back home. Whoever thought bringing home American civilians back from a horrible situation in countries that we have conflict with would be so
it wasn't like high on their
controversial, like how dare you bring back but
it wasn't high on their priority list, right?
Even though this is made up, it's kind of funny how Rambo kind of predicted that, but we don't talk about that. I'm not going to go in any further in
it ended in 1975.
Okay, and then 1975. So I don't know if that's based on anything. I'm please someone knows. Please let me know if that's based on anything, where if they still had POWs they're trying to bring back years later, because we just experienced American citizens in other countries being held as criminals for years, and finally bringing them back, and people actually have a problem with it because. Again, they don't want that thing glorified, whether it's glorifying a politician or war or whatever whatever they think is glorifying. We should. It's a win. We should at least. I don't know if celebrates the term, but we should think of these as wins, at least on some level.
There's nothing wrong with having national pride, right? I think that's the issue,
right? I mean, people demonize that.
I don't think you can, especially when we're talking about, potential war movies like the one we watched today. I don't think you can talk about them without having some type of political context with it, right? I mean, because
it's tough.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's based around, right? Why? And there's a part in this. There's a scene in the movie where he's riding away. He got drafted, right? He's riding away, and his sister asks his mom, like, what are they fighting for? And she says, I don't know, Yeah. I mean, but that's basically what everyone thinks, whether you be in Appalachia, or you be in New York, or you're in California. No, we're trying to figure out what exactly we're fighting for, right?
Yeah, and they didn't harp on it. They didn't, which I think in modern movies today, they would spend so much time on that. Why are we even going? Why is this? Why is that? We get it. If we had a perfect world, there'll be no wars, no nothing. I totally get it, but it's not the point of the story. It just go ahead, throw one or two lines in there because we totally get it, but that's not the point. Did you see that movie, which is based on a book based on actual events? Greatest Beer Run Ever.
No.
Did you see that movie? I bought your daughter the book too.
The Greatest Beer Run. Yes, I've seen that, and it's in her stuff. But she has a mountain of books probably bigger than me. So
So I didn't read the book, but I watched the movie, and I also I read about the actual events. I didn't read the book, but I read about the actual events, and I watched the movie, and I read the differences. And that movie. Or I should say the actual events. So basically, this former Marine, he's he's doing what do they call it? Marine where he's on a boat, pretty much doing trades. They call Anyway, so he's working on boats where he's going different places around the world. What are they called? Because he was in the Marine Corps, but then he joined the civilian thing.
It's like National Guard.
Not National Guard. It's not military at all. It's nothing to do with it.
Coast Guard?
No.
All I know is that
Merchant Marine.
Oh, Merchant Marine. I've never even heard that term.
Yeah. So.
But literally, that movie though, starring Zac Efron, Bill Murray's in it, freaking Russell Crowe, and what really gets me is the poster art for it. It's like a dude. They're parachuting a Pabst in.
Oh,
good old Pabst Blue Ribbon.
So basically, they talk about like, hey, look, there's no national pride anymore. You know, he's at the bar with his buddies. There's no national pride, none this and that. So I want you to go over to Vietnam and tell these boys this. You know, bring them. You know, and this guy's like, I'm a merchant marine. I could probably get on a ship going there. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah. And so they pack up this bag full of American beer. I don't think it was actually Pabst. I think it was something else, but. Why not? I think it was actually like Splits or whatever it's called. Schlitz. Yeah, I think it was actually Schlitz. I could be wrong.
Oh, I had some of that before.
That sounded like airdrop me some Schlitz.
So he actually went over there and he actually was able to find several of these guys from the hometown. And during Vietnam and during the Tet offensive, so very, very bad time. Yeah. And now the movie doesn't even talk about how this guy was a Marine, and he's seen at least a little bit of action before, but you know, they focus on like, oh my God, war is terrible, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, which it is, but it also kind of goes against it's a weird theme. They're like, this is why we don't have pride anymore, because war is bad and we should never glorify war. Well, it's not about glorifying war, it's about respecting and celebrating even the little wins and being thankful that our people are alive.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it's the sacrifice acknowledgement that these things happen too. Because it's the old thing they say with history: if you don't learn from your mistakes, you're doomed to repeat them. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, war's been around since the beginning of time. Yeah, they've fighting wars in the Bible. But like that, now they're scared to even talk about it, which is just crazy.
Well, what's that mindset? I know a couple. You know, it was like within 2 years of me coming back, getting out of the Marine Corps. My dad had an accident. We put a wheelchair ramp in front of his house. One of the guys that I grew up with, that I ran into, he saw the wheelchair ramp and he thought that something happened to me when I was at war. He's like, "Oh, what did that dumbass do to get himself hurt?" And he probably thought of it like that, disparaging me. Not as like a buddy, like, oh, what did that guy do? But as an actual, what this dumbass do? Like, it would have been his fault if you got injured. Not that, yeah, people get injured in war. People die in war. People get injured in war. It's not necessarily their fault. Why would your brain even go there? You know? But nowadays, that's, some people think like that. And versus, oh no, what happened? You know, I'm just thankful they're alive. Yeah. And we don't, I'm not saying that doesn't exist anymore, but it doesn't really exist in our media anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely changed because even, they touched on it in Sergeant York where he gets drafted and I think he sends a letter, right, to DC saying that he's exempt from it because he's a pacifist. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to fight, but he still did, and that's just the reality of it.
And the reality was, in order for him to be exempt, it was this pastor and the community were still writing letters all the way up to the president. Really? And that's how
he became a conscientious objector.
And that's how, he could have if he signed the dotted line.
That was the whole point, is to get it pushed through that he can become one.
Yeah, and then they gave him 10 days to figure it out, where he probably just sat around with his Bible and
But just shout out to all the servicemen out there too, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, because that's what this is really, like boiling down to, it seems like. Just, the lack of like pride for this, and like war is dirty and ugly, but somebody's got to do it. And thank you for protecting all these freedoms, rights that we do have in this great country.
Comment, like, subscribe if you like this. If you want us to keep doing this, we'll do this again. Maybe we'll just. I saw a really weird movie poster of Popeye's Revenge. That'd probably be our next one. And I know Smallsy, you're talking about watching the Tyler Perry movie. Tyler Perry, I can't talk anymore.
I got a couple I can choose from. We'll see, man. We'll see.
Okay.
I'm after today. I'm down to rewatch Rambo. I haven't watched this in a long time.
I think you guys have got me on a Rambo kick now.
Rambo's a good one. I feel like it's been done so many times. We'll have to figure something out. Maybe we'll watch the cartoon. I don't know.
Maybe we can watch.
We can watch the cartoon or watch even The Last Blood, and then we could talk about.
I would like to watch the progression of Rambo and how he's became more and more badass.
You know what? If anyone wants to support, I don't have a Patreon or anything. We're just re-sparking this right now. But people want. Maybe we'll even do like a marathon and just like do. Maybe we'll figure something out. Nah, that's kind of boring. No one wants to watch us watch a movie and listen to us MST3K something or riff it, whatever they call it.
We could watch like
but we could do something.
Yeah. Like the most important scenes, right? Like
we could marathon all the Rambo movies and then say we're just going to review one and then just happen to review them all. We can do that. But we're not doing a Rambo marathon without watching the freaking cartoon. Because I had action figures from the cartoon, and it was freaking awesome.
I had a budget action figure Rambo from the dollar store. It wasn't Rambo. It was like Lambo. But it literally looked like the same thing, but it had like a different color headband and pants.
I had the knife, or I had the plastic version of a knife, where it was like this weird plastic serrated knife, but it could cut cardboard on the serrated side.
Mine had like 0 points of articulation. It was just one mold of some guy in a wife beater.
The pants were painted on,
Oh my god!
Makes me want to play Contras too. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah, Contra.
That was a good name.
All right. Anyways, that was the Media Litter Sandwich. I don't know what episode. We're just gonna call this the one where we talk about Alvin York. Thank you for listening, and let us know what you think. And no, I did not do video this time, but I might still put this on YouTube. I haven't figured it out yet, but yeah, comment, rate, subscribe. Was there anything you guys wanted to shout out? I don't know if you guys had anything going on.
Oh no, shout out to the vets, man. I mean,
okay.
Shout out to the vets, yeah, definitely.
You don't have like a rap album that you're sitting on that I never heard of?
No, not a rap album. I am working on I'm gonna just start watching Tyler Perry movies on my own. We're gonna start with Medea's Family Reunion, and then we're gonna go from there.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Can't wait. I'm excited about these Tyler Perry movies, guys.
All right.
And again, thank you very much for your service, and have a happy 4th of July.
What's your favorite Medea movie?
Straw.
Comment.
Big Mama's House.
It's a good one.
Bye.